The following is an edited re-release of AsobiFM Episode 4. The original live stream of this episode was plagued with technical issues which hopefully have been addressed and will not be seen in future episodes of AsobiFM. Among these issues were a failed transition in which the intro music drowned out our introduction and guest introduction, which unfortunately are not recoverable with my level of technical knowledge. I have also edited out pauses and breaks in recording resulting from connection issues. I will leave the original recording up on my channel if anybody wishes to see the original unedited release. My sincere apologies to our listeners and to our guest for the lower quality of our original broadcast. In future, I will be offering edited audio-only editions of all past and future episodes for re-release on SoundCloud. Please refer to our Twitter page at AsobiFM for new updates and content. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you in the future.
Anime I watched knowing it like what anime was. So that's kind of why I don't count Beyblade and like Digimon and Pokemon, because they kind of are like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like they're like those like little kids shows. So I didn't really. So I read my first fan fiction probably around 2003 and 2004.
Yeah.
And it was for Harry Potter, right? So, I'm on fanfiction.net, and I'm a little, how old would I have been? Like 13-year-old girl. And I'm like, oh, let's look at some cool stuff. So obviously when you're a girl and you're 13, your first instinct is to naturally skip over all the kindergarten shit and just go straight to, yaoi.
Yeah.
As you do. So so like I started scrolling on like I don't remember if you could sort by if you could necessarily sort by what am I trying to say? Rating at this time. They did eventually implement that, but I can't remember if like at this time you could. So my first instance of, trying to find all the good shit was going into like Naruto and Beyblade and Yu Yu Hakusho, like into those areas. And a few times words would pop up in the descriptions. And eventually, like through osmosis, you learn what those words mean. And the words that I was seeing were lemon, lime, citrus.
Uh-huh.
And so I click on this fic thinking, oh, like lemons are gonna, like, they're gonna be using lemon for something in this. So I click on it and I'm like, I read this fic. I don't even remember what it would have been. Probably something involving Gara or whatever. And I see this fic and I'm like, well, where's the lemon, right? Like, you read a you read a whole fan fiction, they don't have any food, but the summary said, like the description said that there was lemons in this. So I don't even remember how I learned what the word lemon like meant in a fan fiction context, but it means that it's how anime fandoms, and then eventually it spread to like Harry Potter, Twilight, like I mean those were like but I didn't read much of Twilight. That was just what Know Your Meme said. But I definitely remember seeing it around in Harry Potter. Like after I knew what to look for, I was just seeing it all the time.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a couple other book ones that I read. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Naruto, Beyblade, Harry Potter, Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha. Those were my big five. Those are my big five. And So basically, and I did a little bit of research before we started recording, because I wanted to explain this just because it's like it's a fun quintessential like fan fiction thing. Like it stopped being a huge thing. Like probably I want to say around like 2010, 2011 is when like the tag just like fell off completely.
Yeah.
Um for whatever reason. I know your meme says it was because of AO3, but I had stopped seeing it even before Archive of Our Own,
Yeah.
shorthanded to AO3. I had stopped seeing it before before I became aware of AO3, but I guess AO3 was around like the 2010s, like maybe 2012 at the earliest, so that
Yeah.
would have made sense. Yeah.
So did
Um,
AO3 actually ban that as a tag, or was that something that like it just
no,
fell out of style?
it kind of just fell out of style because AO3 their tagging system because like Lemon was still being used even after fanfiction.net developed its like
Mm-hmm.
drop down rating system. And I remember like AO3's is a bit more like intricate because you can kind of hold on, let me pull it up real quick because I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's a bit more elaborate. It just kind of became more of the style to use like their what how they label their tags kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um but I mean I still kind of joke about Lemon every once in a while. And actually so I did a little bit of research, and the fun fact is that my reputable source Know Your Meme says that the tags, like the whole scale, stems from this hentai in the 1980s called Cream Lemon.
Uh-huh.
And they had a mailing list for they had a that like I don't know if it like Cream Lemon, because it says it's a manga and anime series, but then it says they had a mailing list, but maybe they just had like a whole, but they would basically like mail you erotic anime and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called the Lemon List, and that's where the tags eventually all came from, because you got your all right, so you got your lemon, and that's your explicit, that's your it varies from community to community, but basically you will usually find your like penetration,
Yeah.
like your dick in the butt or the vagina, wherever. So then, but there's also lime, which is kind of like it doesn't go like, it's basically like your third base, like you're not having you're not having sex, but there's a lot of making out, there's a lot of foreplay involved there.
Mm-hmm.
um I joked about orange, but I really only saw lemon, lime, and citrus being tossed around as the three tags that I would come across. And I definitely remember a lot of dreary fics with that would say like hints of lime in later chapters or whatever. Like, but there's also orange, which is just like, you're kissing and you're hugging. Maybe there's like a little bit of touching, but not, not a whole lot. And then there's also grapefruit, apparently. Um, excuse me. There's also grapefruit, apparently, which is like it's not. I mean, even the wiki that I'm looking at says it's not widely used. But it's basically for like X-rated stuff, like did I say orange already? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Sorry. I read them in the reversed order that they're listed, so I was like, wait. Um, and then there's citrus, which is just like simple hugging, but like simple like kisses and stuff. Like it's just like romantic. It's like it's fluff.
Yeah.
I don't know if yeah, like it's just fluffy. Like there's no like anything really explicit going on.
The wholesome stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so like, I discovered those words and it was like my third eye opened and and to this day I'm not really sure why those terms became popular necessarily. I mean, like they're fun and it's like and it's cool cuz it, came from an anime, one that I'll probably like look into later, but I don't know if I don't know if fanfiction.net like in the early days had a history of removing explicit content. So like cuz it was clear like everything I've read is like, oh, it was a way to get, to like it was a way to get around saying sex or whatever. And I'm just like, well, why couldn't you just say, hey, there's sex in this?
Yeah.
But I don't know if yeah, but I don't know. What do I know?
Maybe that would have kept the kids out.
Maybe. Oh yeah, I guess that would like I guess
Or it
that
would
would
have the
make
exact
sense.
opposite effect,
Yeah,
where it would be
like
attracting the kids into it, and they didn't want that.
where you're,
It's
where you're a 13-year-old girl and you're like, hey, I want to see Gara and Sasuke hooking up.
exactly, yeah. So you have to, there was that little barrier of entry. You had to get with the lingo before you actually,
Yeah.
yeah.
Before you could, yeah, but you must be this tall to ride this ride.
You must
But
know these words to ride this ride. Ooh. There's a
oh,
double entendre there that was completely.
yeah, on accident, but it
Yeah.
worked.
All
So
right.
yeah, so I started reading like and I still have my fanfiction.net account from when I was really small.
Oh.
Nothing, yeah, I think there's only one thing posted on it and I think it's just a stupid like poem I wrote about like Sirius or something. I don't know. It hold on, let me look at my profile. No, I don't even have anything published. So
Hmm.
I just I do I think I was thinking of my old like my so I have two different accounts under two different emails and I think the one I was thinking of with the really bad old fan fiction
Mm-hmm.
uh was that one. But yeah, like I do remember posting like this really stupid like poem through Sirius's perspective or something like that.
Oh, I don't.
Um
Yeah.
but yeah, no, like I still have my old account from uh 2003, 2004 when I first started. Or actually like it's I guess it would technically be my second account, but so and I'm just gonna list some of these favorites that I have here because I
Okay,
have
this sounds
six.
good.
I have six stories favorited. The first one is one that I remember reading around this time, and it's called Demon Sex Education, and it's this four chapter fic about it's a high school AU basically. Meaning that the Inuyasha characters are in high school. They're still demons and stuff, like whatever, like they're still Shishomaru is still a demon. Frickin' Inuyasha is still a half demon. Like the other characters, like they're all basically the same. It's just they're in a high school class together.
Okay.
And for some reason, for some reason, Shishomaru. Well, I mean, I guess I know the reason, but so Shishomaru is the same age. Rin is aged up, and Naraku is aged down.
Uh. Huh?
So Rin is the teacher of this demon sex class. And Naraku and Inuyasha Kagome, like, all the people you'd expect, all the familiar faces are there.
Yeah.
They're all in this class being taught Demon Sex Ed by Rin. And I'm remembering this all
Uh,
from memory, by the way. I read this fic once, and then I would read it again every like couple of months or so because
uh-huh.
I would just think it was so funny. Um, in the middle of this class, okay, so like they do like the, that sex education video.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of this class, Rin and Shishomaru leave to go fuck. Leave.
Oh. Okay.
Wait, no, they don't. I'm sorry. They don't fuck until the end of class. And it's very explicit. Like all the students know that it's happening or going to happen. I guess that's like the one thing that I like, got wrong. But yeah,
Hmm.
so basically the whole thing is that Rin is like I like looking back on it now, it looks like it almost seems like Rin was like this was their foreplay and Rin was like teasing him the whole time.
Okay.
Very weird. And I liked it though. It was funny. Like I think the dialogue is mostly written in like a script format.
Uh-huh.
One of the chapters is all normal dialogue tags, but then oh no, I guess it's all okay, it's all just normal dialogue tags. And yeah, so like they're watching like it's just very freaking weird and I love it though.
Hmm.
It's great.
That's
So then what?
sorry, that's like the thing that I think that fan fiction is a great way to explore different aspects of these characters or bring out an interpretation that people have of characters that they enjoy. And
Oh,
like
definitely.
yeah. And that's the way like I've tried to look at it because you have your bad fan fiction and stuff, and that stuff usually gets the most like I don't want to say airtime, but people talk about that stuff the most.
Oh
And
yeah, I
yeah,
mean My Immortal is
oh
still being joked about to this day. And it's
yeah,
funny cuz I'd never read it back when it was like being published and being worked on. I
I am
came into
shocked.
contact with it. Yeah, I think it was like early 2006, 2007, and
Hmm.
I didn't get into contact with it until like 2009 after it was already after all the dust had settled. Basically, is when I discovered it.
It seems to be having ebbs and flows every once in a while. Somebody will mention it, and then like 15
Hmm.
people do videos and stuff on it.
Oh yeah, I mean there was a video I just watched about it last week that was published I think a couple weeks ago, which was actually kind of interesting because it went into a lot of the history of it.
Hmm.
Um, but no, because like yeah, going back to your point, um, for me, when I was back like in my prime of looking at fan fiction, and even to this day now, my favorite fan fictions to read are Harry Potter, and they're in the Marauders era, like Harry's dad and all that. Because like Sirius was one of my favorite characters of all time. I loved. This might be a controversial take, but I loved the chapter in Order of the Phoenix where it's Snape's worst memory, and like that was always my favorite,
Hmm.
even though James was, like James and Sirius were bullying Snape. I never
Yeah.
liked Snape anyway, so I was just like I was like, "Go guys, go kick his ass. He's a wizard Nazi. It's fine." Um, but yeah, so like but the only way that you can get other stories, cuz that's the only time we see them as teens or like see them, interact with them fully. That's the only time that like we really get to see like what happened during their like during their school term. Or and then I mean like we see them older, but Lupin and Sirius, like James is dead. Lupin and Sirius are really only relevant for maybe a chapter to a book. Like I mean, well, Lupin was like their big book was the third book, but then after that, um they were really only relevant for a couple of scenes here and there. So
Uh-huh.
so the way to explore those characters and was to read the fan fiction. And, like Wolfstar, which is Lupin and Sirius, that is like one of the like, other than Drary and, maybe Hermione or like any Draco pairing, basically. That is probably one of like the most popular fan fiction that you can find for Marauders. It's like it's gonna be Wolfstar.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's kind of what kept me reading it all the time, was just I can explore different stories, I can explore different sides of these characters, I can find stories that are better written than what J.K. Rowling can write. Like, hello? I don't know why this keeps happening. It's just the technical difficulties episode.
Yeah, I'm just being punished for not doing this for April, May, June. Okay, so it hasn't been that long. It's been like 3 months, but
Oh.
that's what I have to deal with. I was moving. I couldn't do this. I had to deal with my old roommates. Absolutely abysmal Wi-Fi, and I just was like, I can't do anything with
Yeah.
these circumstances. But anyway,
And now
um,
these circumstances are
it's
punishing you.
yeah. It's probably just Discord. We're cutting in on the bandwidth that really needs to be used to groom children. But anyway, um, you said um, fanfic writers who were writing things better than J.K. Rowling, and I said in response to that, is that really that hard? And that's when it cut off.
Okay, and well, to answer your question, no.
Okay.
No, but also I mean, I wouldn't say my immortal is like
Oh
I
no no
think
no.
I think J.K. Rowling can write at least a little better than that.
I think okay.
She at least knows how to spell her characters' names consistently.
have you
At
ever?
the
Yeah. Have you ever? Eh, have you ever read a Jodi Picoult novel?
No, I've
Okay.
I've been lucky enough to avoid those.
Yeah, the thing is, her writing style, what she does is every chapter, she does it from the point of view of one of the main characters. So she has several main characters, and she does a story from the point of view of the main characters, and each chapter is like its own separate story as part of the greater story. But the thing
Right.
is, like, if you've read one, it bleeds on. If you read two Jodi Picoult novels, you end up in your memory fusing the two of them together. So it's like a story about a school shooting versus I forget what the other one I read by her, but like I had to read two of them in sequence, for one of them for a high school class and the other one just on my own because I wanted to read another thing that she wrote, and they
Mm.
just meld right together.
Oh my
And
god.
it feels really weird to like try to think back, and I was like, oh wait, this isn't the one about the school shooting. Oops.
Yeah, this is the other one with a clearly rememberable plot
Oh yeah,
element
yeah.
going on.
Yeah, oh this was like 12 years ago that I read these books. Um so yeah, 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. That's about a school shooting that happens in Concord, New Hampshire.
Heard of that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, that was a sidetrack, but
No, that's like, huh. I'll have to look into that. I didn't know it was in New Hampshire. That's
yeah,
cool.
it's a lot
I don't,
of unsettling novels and stuff that happen in New England, so I think it's joining some sort of horrible tradition. Anyway,
but
so
yeah, so it's like, you have stories that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, and you have like you have Wolfstar, which is really popular. I don't know if I talked for a while before you messaged me, so I don't know if I mentioned that already, but Wolfstar is Lupin and Sirius, and that's like a really popular ship. So
yeah.
like you have all of those. and then you have like your Jerry's and your Hermione, and you have, you know, oh, Draco and Hermione are prefects and they have to share a dorm now? What? And it's like, oh no, I'm sorry, they were head boy and head girl, and they have to share a dorm now.
Uh-huh.
Whoa, that was a very popular subgenre of fan fiction that I ate up like candy. As far as
The,
like as far as like anime goes, high school AUs were like, because my thing with anime fan fiction and just like I I don't and I haven't read like I've never read one that was set in universe, so I could be wrong, but if I want to look like for, for Naruto and Inuyasha and all those stuffs, if I want to look at something like that's related to that story, I don't know if I trust a fan fiction writer to really like do that well. Was how
I definitely get that because about 6 years ago when I was still rolling on the Kill la Kill high, I would go on looking for different fan fictions, and there were some that like captured the characters perfectly and then made me super uncomfortable towards the end, or they would be just completely off the wall, like not coffee shop AUs so much as it was like
these characters would never do that.
These characters would never do that. Also, you seem to completely misunderstand the setting of it, or the setup of the school, or
yes,
how Japanese schools work differently from American schools and all this stuff. And it was like Kill la Kill wasn't a slice of life, but they tried to go for like a slice of life thing, and then ended up just going way off base. And I just try to hold my tongue. Like, I don't want to be that jerk that says, hey, these characters would never do that or anything like that, because this wasn't like Archive of Our Own stuff. This was stuff that people I knew on Tumblr were writing, and I didn't want to just like jump on them for that because I didn't want to be a dick, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of why I like it was like the natural progression when I started reading fan fiction again was to turn to Homestuck fan fiction. Because I started reading Homestuck. I had kind of fallen off the fan fiction wagon late high school, early college and stuff, but then when I started getting into Homestuck, I started reading and writing fan fiction again. And actually, I have a couple fics posted to AO3. One of them was just like a stupid little one shot for a pairing no one gives a shit about, unfortunately. But the other one actually got really popular with a lot of people, and even like to this day, the last time I updated it was last year, but even to this day, I still get notifications in my email like every month or so being like so and so commented on this or so and so, like, because I get like on AO3 on AO3 you don't have to necessarily write a comment. You can leave kudos, which is kind of like a thumbs up, like, if you're on Facebook and you like a post. So like, and much like Facebook, it'll alert you when people give you kudos. And so, like my most popular fan fiction on there, let me look at it real quick. I should have pulled it up while I was talking, but I'm dumb. My works, there it is. Okay. So this one, it has over 500 kudos, like 61 people have bookmarked it, and that's this is the first time that I ever like wrote anything. Well, it wasn't the first time that I wrote anything. It was the first time that I published.
You were just learning your ABCs, you know?
Yeah. Well, no. Like, I posted this in like 2013. 2014, but like before that I would always lurk. I would never posted. Like I said, I think the only thing I ever posted was like one poem or whatever when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
So this was like the first time that I ever actually like posted and like kept updating it, because back when I was in my stride, I was updating at least once a week for a good like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of slowed down a little bit over the years. Like I said, the last time I updated it was last year, but I go back to like technically the last time I updated it was a couple of months ago when I got my ADHD medication and just completely re-edited it so it was less problematic.
Okay.
As you do, like I went from chapter 1 to chapter 26, just reworking the fic so it wasn't gross anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be something that I wouldn't mind leaving up. But yeah, like all the fan fiction that I have on AO3, it's all Homestuck. And a lot of my notebooks that I go through, like some of the ones that I know are from more recent years, like they have Homestuck, they have like half completed fics in them or
Yeah.
whatever. And um oh shit, oh my god, I actually, sorry, I realized that I realized there was a fic that I was looking for in my notebooks the other day, because my friend and I are going to be starting a fan fiction podcast where we look back at old fan fiction, and because that's like my favorite
Yeah.
is like the older stuff. I do, I do like Homestuck, but like my favorites are from when I was reading it. And I was trying to find one specific fanfic because the first official episode is going to be me reading some of my own like half finished fics or whatever.
Ah.
And yeah, which I never done. Actually, I'm kind of tempted to today, but it's not an anime one, so I won't. I don't. I've already talked about Harry Potter enough. But there was one that I was looking for that I couldn't find, and apparently I had published 2 chapters of it on AO3. This one didn't get a lot of traction, but mostly because it's only 2 chapters and it's kind of stupid. But anyway, but yeah, so it was just like whenever I looked at anime fan fiction, it would always be like the high school AUs, because it's like, okay, if I'm gonna like, I don't want to see, I don't know, like I never wanted to see like a fan's idea of an episode.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know if I'll like, because if I don't like it, then it's like, great, I wasted my time when I could have been reading something else or doing something else. So my next favorite that I remember reading, I don't remember too much of what it's about, but it's called School Sucks, and it's a Yu Yu Hakusho high school AU.
Okay.
I believe Hiei becomes a teacher. I don't remember very much about this one other than the author's OC is kind of like dating Hiei, and they live together, but then she ends up becoming a student for some reason, and he, I think, is a teacher. I don't know why. Yeah,
That's weird.
Yeah, like I've never, because it's weird because it's in my favorites. I remember reading it. I remember liking it, but it's 32 chapters long, and I think I've only ever read like the first half of it. And I don't think it ever goes into explaining exactly why that happened. Like why she has to go back to school.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like she never got her diploma or something, and she got bored. It's the OC, the author's original character is one of those early 2000s, like, Gur inspired, so random
Yeah.
characters. So I think she just got bored and wanted to get her diploma. I don't, and then he had to, I don't know. It was stupid. It's very 2000s. Like, it's very 2005. I loved it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Mostly because it featured Hiei, and I
See, it was just like a golden age of fandom at that point. It was just like everything was just thrown out there. It was just
yeah.
like kind of like a Wild West. It seems that like
The
for
early
better or for
2000s,
worse,
the early
we've pruned that
2000s,
down.
you could not escape the plague of OC. Like the early 2000s, and like this, and anime fandoms weren't just the only place
Oh
where this
no, no, by
happened.
no means,
It
no.
Yeah, it like, I mean, just, My Immortal is probably one of the most popular Harry Potter fan fictions, and its main character is an OC. Like like, I mean, I don't know what it looks like today, but you definitely could not escape this, like, even if you tried. And actually, the next fanfic that I have on this list of my favorites is a Marauders era fanfic
Uh-huh.
with OC and
That's
and in the most early 2000s title you could ever name a fic, it's called Love, Life, and Sugar Highs.
oh,
And
this is bringing back that feeling, you know.
yeah, that very heavy.
That bittersweet feeling, like
Yeah.
nostalgia, but you have to question yourself
The,
before you
but
go too far.
it's the cringy nostalgia, so it's not even like, you don't have like the same fun of like, going back and enjoying, I don't know. For some reason the only show that comes to mind is Danny Phantom, but that's a very
Hmm.
so it's not even like the fun kind of nostalgia. It's like the, oh, I did that kind.
Yeah.
Oh, we were like that. And actually, I'm just realizing that this fic was published over the course of 4 years.
So they had
Like,
a chance
updated.
to think it over a little bit more.
Now I'm
Ooh.
kind of curious if oh, sorry, I don't know if that was like a spike in audio, but now I'm kind of
Huh.
curious if it got better, like writing quality wise, as it went along. Like, less LOL so random, but it's also 2002 to 2006, so it's really anyone's guess as far as that goes.
Mm.
Oh god.
We're
Um,
not going to read. Okay, so I just sent Nico. Okay, so I have to say I have written debatably 1.5 fanfics in my life. The first one was a Final Fantasy. It was 8th grade. What year was 8th grade for us?
that was 2006 to 2007.
All right, yeah. So it
Oh wait,
was
no, that was freshman year. 2005 to 2006.
2005, 2006. Yeah. So I don't know whether it was on like Comcast used to let you have like GeoCities style pages, and
Oh my god.
I wrote a friggin' novel.
You were one of those? You had your own
Yes.
fan fiction on your GeoCities site?
Yes. And that was the only thing I had on there, and I shared it with at tops like 4 or 5 of my classmates.
That's
And
hilarious. That's awesome.
it was self-insert in Final Fantasy
Of course
X
it was.
2.
Oh my
Have you
god.
how much do you know about Final Fantasy X?
That it's the worst one.
Okay, I'm going to let that slide. How much do you know about Final Fantasy X 2, the sequel to Final Fantasy X?
That it's also the worst one.
I I'm going to let that slide only because I don't necessarily disagree with you at this point in my life. But and like, how old were we? We were like 14 at the time, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like 13, 14, yeah.
13, 14-year-old boy has a crush on a video game character, decides to write
Oh my
a fan
god.
fiction. You can imagine where it went. There were a
I
couple
mean,
of erotic scenes in it. That was it. And hopefully Comcast we don't have like the same thing where like people saved off all of the GeoCities in like a web cache and they're posting it
yeah.
on Tumblr. Hopefully they
Yeah.
didn't do that with the Comcast web pages because I hope that thing is dead in the dirt because the hard drive that was saved on failed. I don't know, like I have some flash drive. Back then if you had like an 8 megabyte flash drive, you were sitting pretty, so I don't know if that 8 megabyte flash drive is anywhere.
See, I'm
But
really bummed because, like, so you're talking about hoping that your GeoCities site for your self-insert fan fiction is down.
yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm over here regretting so badly that I never saved my fucking Inuyasha fan fiction to a floppy disk when I had the chance
Mm,
because so in we didn't get our we didn't get a new computer for Windows XP. Okay?
yeah.
We didn't get a Windows desktop until Windows 7, I believe, came
Ooh.
out. Yeah. So we had for the longest time. Oh my god, how long did we have this computer? Oh no, it wasn't Windows 7. What was before Windows 7? Windows XP?
Yeah, that was Windows XP. It was the blue Windows bubbly
Maybe it
kind of.
was Windows. Yeah, it was Windows 7 then. Okay. So we had for the longest time, I want to say from 2002 probably up to like maybe 2006 at the latest, we had this fucking old ass Apple desktop. Like
Ooh.
I'm talking it had, you know, that off-white color that a lot of old computers had?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was the color of it. It wasn't even like it wasn't even slick like how Apple computers started to look. It was boxy as hell. The monitor for it sat on top of the CPU because like
Yeah.
the CPU was like horizontal, not a tower. So and one day it just stopped working. Like for a while it was doing this thing where gradually the screen would go black and then but if you like what I would do to get around this if it happened when I was reading fan fiction was I would just like jiggle the mouse a lot and then eventually it would like go back like come back to life.
Mm-hmm.
But one day it just didn't it just wouldn't do that anymore. Like it just died. And I had this like really I was so proud of this Naruto fan fiction I was writing. Um, I think it was from what I remember of it, it was kind of had the same plot as the big twist of the trial in Legally Blonde. If I remember correctly, I had like it started with this flashback of Kagome dying in Inuyasha's arms, and then but Inuyasha gets like framed for it, and he's like the social pariah, and he's depressed. It's very angsty, okay,
Mm-hmm.
very angsty, and it was all like one of the vivid scenes that I have is in that I wish that I could still have it because for early 2000s Nicole writing it was very like it was purple prosy but it was damn good like I from what I from the vague sentences that sometimes stick out at me in the realm of my subconscious like it was very like it was purple prosy as hell
Mm-hmm.
but man man was it like
Aw.
kind of good so like Inuyasha's like the social pariah, and one of the parts I remember very distinctly is he's talking to my OC in the bathroom about like rip.
Come on, come back.
Oh no. This is so cursed.
Wait, we're double audioing. Okay. You're in an echo chamber. Wow.
Me?
Yes.
What the fuck? Hold on. Does it sound better?
I don't think you're the problem, honestly.
Damn it.
Anyway, you can just speak like you're a god talking down to us mere mortals. It's fine.
Alright. That's no different from how I normally feel. I'm just kidding. Oh my god. But no, so wow. That's the most conceited I've ever sounded in my entire life. Oh, I hate myself for saying that. Anyway, so he becomes friends with my OC, and it was all building up to the fucking trial, and I was in the middle of writing the trial when our computer died.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, during the trial, it was gonna come out Legally Blonde style that Koga was the one who killed Kagome, not Inuyasha. And I can still remember this because I was obsessed with this fic for like 3 months. I would come home and like I would put off my homework, and because all I wanted to do was just write this Inuyasha fan fiction. In eighth grade, one of my class notebooks, I had a 5-section notebook, and somewhere in the middle of the school year, I was like, I'm never gonna use, like, it was like a 5-subject one, and I was like, I'm never gonna use, like, subject 4 and 5 of this. Like, it's eighth grade history, like how in depth is it gonna get?
Yeah.
So in the back of my social studies notebook, I began writing this Naruto fan fiction, and I refer to it constantly as the one that got away, because I cannot. For half of the year, I worked on this fan fiction during class, at home, anywhere that I could.
Yeah.
And I cannot find it anywhere. I can't find the notebook anywhere. I've searched my room. I've searched parts of my house where I think it would have ended up, and it's just nowhere to be found.
Mm.
And there was like a little while where I was like, oh, maybe I wrote it in a different notebook and I just ripped the pages out, and for whatever reason, because I still have all these shitty fan fictions that I wrote, one of them involving like a long sequence where Mai was singing Hilary Duff after she got out of the hospital and Joey was bringing her home. I have that fan fiction still written down, but I don't have, from when I was in 6th grade, but I don't have my fucking magnum opus of a goddamn Naruto fan fiction anywhere. And I have no idea what would have happened to it other than me throwing it away. Or like if the notebook got, all gross or whatever, and it just had like, it makes me sad. And I don't know, like, I don't know if it had my OC in it. I'm assuming it did. I don't know if my OC was dating Itachi, Sasuke, or Gaara, because any of those could be options, especially for 8th grade. Like, I was an edgy motherfucker. And then I'm going through my notebooks and I find 3 pages of a Naruto fan fiction where my OC is dating Naruto, and I'm like, wow, that's a completely unexpected twist I never thought would happen. So I can't make fun of you too much for like putting your OC with people, because I found a Harry Potter one that I have no like recollection of writing, that was gonna be my OC seducing Malfoy and dating him so he stops being a jerk to like Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
That is both self-serving and yeah.
And even better, she was a Hogwarts transfer student from America. Which is a very popular subgenre of fan fiction. I can't remember if I ever read any of them. I'm assuming I must have read at least one, because I don't know why I would have thought of that organically. Um, excuse me. So yeah, and then there's the fourth one that's in here is Kai is from Beyblade, and it's
Mm-hmm.
once again a high school OC, which is pretty easy to do for Beyblade because like yeah, there's like it's mostly about the top, like the spinning tops,
Yeah.
but I mean they're at the end of the day they're basically more closer to high school students than Inuyasha.
Yeah.
Um, and that one is also a very early 2000s title, and it's called Love, Life, and the Murder Scene, and it involves the OC coming in from a different town or whatever, and she's dating Kai, but then she cheats on him with Tala, and then Kai forgives her, but then she cheats on Kai again with Tala.
It's
And
a
then
lot of infidelity.
yeah, it's a very bad fan fiction. I read it. That sounds mean. I don't mean like it was good in 2007 when I was reading it.
Yeah. And that's what's important.
And then I read it again last year and I'm like, "Oh, this is just isn't good." But I like it. Uh I don't know if I necessarily recommend it, but if you want something kind of dumb and like easy to read,
Mm-hmm.
it gets wild toward the end because it's called Love, Life, and the Murder Scene, and it gets. I'm pretty sure. Spoiler alert! I'm pretty sure Kai ends up killing Tala. Tala.
Ah.
So yeah, I don't even remember, or maybe it's the OC that dies. I I'm not sure, but
Oh. Oh.
either way.
I killed off my OC.
I never did. She would never have let me.
Mm-hmm.
Who
I
was
don't
your
know.
OC?
My OC, I don't even
Yeah,
remember.
my OC.
So for the Final Fantasy X fanfic, I don't even remember what I named the guy. I think it was just like I was just getting into Japanese language at that point. Like actually getting into Japanese language, and I was like, kanji are interesting. I thought I could just go the entire time only learning hiragana and katakana. And whoa boy. Hold on. My
Oh,
headphones
God.
came off.
Oh no. Okay, well at least the recording didn't fuck up again.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, like I think I just like took the like there's different readings to kanji and stuff, so I just took the kunyomi readings of like three characters and I put them together and I was like, this is the name, and it means something like Heaven Forest Warrior or some bullshit.
Oh,
And
I did that for my Pokemon OC last year when I made one.
okay. That's all right for a Pokemon, but not for like
Not for Final Fantasy.
a slightly brooding character who's 20 years old or whatever, who's for some reason into the really bubbly Genki girl.
Oh my god. See, my OC
But yeah,
is
I
named
didn't like my OC, so I just ended up killing him, and then the fic went nowhere, and I stopped. That was the story.
See, my OC, her name was Veronica. I shit you not. Before the gangweed memes were ever in my life, I had an OC named Veronica.
Uh-huh.
And she is constantly like so because she's pretty versatile, right? Like I didn't use her. She's not there was a weird period where I was changing her name a lot. In the Harry Potter fan fiction I mentioned, like I think I even changed her appearance. Uh, So she stopped being Veronica for a while. Like in this Harry Potter fic I just told you about, her name is Liz. I found one of the fics that I was finding in an old notebook. I crossed out every instance of Veronica and wrote a different name. But she's always gonna be Veronica to me. Like I don't care what my younger self was thinking. Veronica just fits. So she's very versatile. She can be whatever she wants. But the most common description, like the most common way that I've ever described her, is having blue hair and purple eyes. And and when I write Inuyasha fiction, if she's in it, she is a wolf demon or like half wolf demon. Because Koga was my favorite, and I like wolves. What's up? I'm not a furry, I swear. Um, so
Sure. Okay.
in my in my Naruto fan fiction, she'd be from the Sand Village. There was one fic that I found where she was new to the school but she was betrothed to Gara.
Oh.
It was like a long lost lovers thing. It was very weird. She's Liz in this Harry Potter fic, and she's doesn't have the same like description, but there's been other ones like one of my favorite old fics that I wish I had completed, but I didn't because my ADHD brain. She is like a vampire hunter.
Uh-huh.
And in that Harry Potter fan fiction, that one is cool because that it's called The Shocking Truth. Because I was, very original when I was in 6th grade, and it was about Harry's parents being vampires and Voldemort being the vampire king.
Yeah.
And I wish that I would have finished it because Lupin was gonna be in it, being like mind controlled by Voldemort, and I think it was written so I had because I wrote a lot of fan fiction before I published any, and kind of before I really knew what fan fiction was. Like well before I started reading it on fanfiction.net, my friends and I discovered HP fanfiction on the official Harry Potter forums.
Mm-hmm.
And people would make threads of like each chapter, like they would have it would have every other word, every other letter was would alternate uppercase and lowercase. Like it would have like emoticons in the thread name and stuff, and but it would be each, it would have all the chapters of the that's where the author would publish their fan fiction. Chapter by chapter was in the body of forum text posts.
Yeah.
And so that's where my friends and I started reading Harry Potter fan fiction before I found fanfiction.net. And during the time between, so there was a 3-year gap in Harry Potter, which doesn't seem like a long time now. Like 3 years between novels now is pretty. 3 years between video game sequels is pretty standard. But there's a 3-year gap between books 5 and 6 of Harry Potter. And in that 3-year gap, the most wild shit was even more so than any of the fan fiction written. Like people were writing how the story would end. It was because book 5 is where we find out the prophecy. So that just became a huge deal and I got in on that. But for me, I was also into Van Helsing, and I think that was kind of the influence behind
Yeah, they
Voldemort being the Vampire King. But
can mesh
like,
those together pretty well.
yeah. Well, there's vampires and werewolves featured in Harry Potter. Well,
Yeah.
actually, so book 6 has a vampire character in it, and I don't think it's a coincidence that I wrote a fan fiction about vampire characters
Mm-hmm.
before that book came out. I think J.K. Rowling was going through my notebooks and was like, "Oh, it's too late to make Voldemort the Vampire King, but what if I include this Italian vampire named Linguini or whatever?"
Knowing
Oh
her,
no,
she probably actually named it something stupid like
it was Sanguini, but
Sanguini. Okay, that's totally different.
yeah.
Got Cho Chang and fettuccine. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, your
Your
Italian and
basic food group.
Chinese. Yeah. Oh God.
um
Chop
so
suey and
yeah.
linguine.
Well, I was thinking Chinese and linguine.
Yeah, but chop suey. Okay, chop suey isn't Chinese. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, wait, chop suey.
I think chop. Okay, so yeah, chop suey for New England. Chop suey is just like noodles and meat sauce. So it's like very Italian almost, but like with
Yeah, it
a New
really
England
is.
style. But I swear to God, somebody said that chop suey was like supposed to be a Chinese thing, but whatever.
Oh, really? I never got a Chinese vibe from it. I'm not a big chop suey fan anyway,
Yeah,
but
me neither. But like the name of it seems like it was like a Chinese restaurant thing. I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, like
Sidetrack.
and it's weird because like I think my for inspiration, I say, but I think my inspiration for Veronica came from one of my friends having an OC. Well, actually, I don't really know if you would call it an OC. I don't. Sh they were weird, but anyway, so like I wanted to come up with a character to like kind of go along with theirs, and her character was very like edgy, like cuts wrists all the time and is gothic, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, Veronica doesn't cut her wrists, but she's still gothic.
Gothic.
Yeah. Um yeah, like I found a fic where I like describe it was very weird.
With
Very
my black trip pants and my black combat boots and my black lace top.
Okay, she didn't have combat boots or trip pants,
Oh, come
but
on.
she was described as escape. I was she okay, she wasn't gothic. She was more punk. So she
Okay,
had
but
on so she had on like what was it? She had a Sex Pistols t-shirt.
uh-huh.
Uh hold on. A Sex Pistols t-shirt, high top Converse. I can't remember what pants, but I can't remember what pants she had on. I think they were just like ripped jeans.
Trip.
Um, no, punks didn't wear trip pants, okay?
I
I think she just had ripped jeans, and she had the the Clash wrist like sweatband on her
okay.
wrist,
All right.
and those black rubber bracelets that were all the rage. She was punk as hell and a skateboarder, so don't fuck with her.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for you, I think that was in the fic where she was betrothed to Gara, so she wasn't a demon in that one. That was an Inuyasha fanfiction special.
All right.
In
Oh boy.
one of the fics I wrote, okay, do you remember Holes?
Yes, I do remember holes.
Do you remember how the Warren, the warden, how she had that nail polish that was like made out of like the
The
lizard.
Venom. Yeah.
Yeah. I found a fan fiction where my OC had that. Like but it was like demon venom nail polish.
Human.
And she like scratched Inuyasha's face with it and like ripped out a chunk of his hair.
Oof.
And she also had lipstick that was demon venom.
Playing with fire.
Yeah. Well,
That's good.
it was a hello?
Those were fireworks.
Oh shit.
Those were not gunshots.
What? It was happening at the same time I was moving my hand. So I wasn't sure if that was just the
Did I
cord of
just
my headset moving or
Okay. So you're not like me when you hear like a well-timed like explosion or something like that because fireworks are a thing. You're not like me where you like a well-timed explosion when you like put your fist on the table or something and you're like, "Did I just get magical powers or something?" Oh, no, wait.
happening. Like I thought I was like moving the cord around and like creating like a weird whatever.
No, that's just my
Whatever word
neighbors.
I was trying to use. Okay, good.
We've got loud pipes and fireworks and thin walls. My 120-year-old house, so yeah.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't anything serious, because where you live, it could have been anything.
Oh god, yeah. Pray for
um,
me.
yeah,
Maybe I
well,
need that demon venom lipstick.
yeah, probably. Probably. I think it would look good on you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it might be your color. Oh god, I don't even remember what color it was. I think it was like blue.
Ah.
So yeah, you'd look cool. But she only had that when she went into demon mode. When she was normal, she was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would had no risk of creepy nails. But yeah, I straight up just lifted like a plot element from holes out of and used it for my OC.
Well, you could also debatably say that also came from that.
No, it was definitely holes.
Okay, it was from holes, but the lipstick thing could have come from Batman. Was it Batman Returns, the one with Poison Ivy?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've seen that movie in a long time when I
Mm-hmm.
was writing that. Like, huh, interesting. Maybe like through osmosis,
Yeah.
I remembered that and like, but
For some
yeah,
reason, my mom sat me down to watch that when I was like 5,
all 5.
and it was like, oh, sexy lady kills people with kisses, and Robin has plastic lips, and I feel confused.
That movie was a fucking trip.
Yeah, that's
I think
one of
that
the
was
reasons I
Batman
haven't
and
seen it.
Robin.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I haven't watched it since I was 5.
No, it's good. I
Yeah,
watched I mean, well, good in a bad way.
yeah.
I watched Batman Forever,
Hmm.
the one the other day, the one that has the Riddler in it. I think that's Batman Forever.
Okay.
I like Jim Carrey in that movie. The
Hmm.
Riddler was cool, and it had Drew Barrymore in it.
Hmm.
Little fun fact. Anyway,
I'll have to watch that.
yeah, no, it's good. I think I like those movies are still so bad they're good to me.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while, so.
Oh my god. Sorry, I was looking at the tab I had for Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction because
Mm-hmm.
I was picking one out to read, which I have the one I want to read. But I noticed one that was named after a Pink song, and it's a song fic about Bakura set to Don't Let Me Get Me by Pink.
Oh.
I'm gonna be reading that later.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, and another fun thing about fan fiction in this time, not only were they tagged lemon and stuff, but you also had these really fun author's notes where each fic would either like begin or end with author's notes being like, I don't own this or whatever. But if they were really dedicated author's notes, they had they would have multiple characters. Either it would be the author's OCs or it would be characters from the series, but they would have these very lovely beginning and ending, like script style conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I could find a good example. So you can get like a better idea of what I mean, because it was just it so where's the one from the Beyblade fic? Okay. So you would have, the way that it would start, it would like the author would be their own character.
Yeah.
And then you would also have like other characters interacting with the author. And sometimes they would talk about like if it had if like if they, if like if it happened at the end of the chapter, they would sometimes talk about what happened in that chapter, what's going to happen in the chapter, what's going to happen like, next time or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And if there was one at the beginning and one at the end, the one at the end would usually act as if like the fic in the middle was a passage of time. So on this one that I have as an example, it's like, okay, so it says like Princess Serenity. Hey all, Serenity here. And then it goes, Kiro says, and me. And then Princess Serenity replies, yes, Kiro, you too. And then she's interrupted by Katie, who says, what about me? And then Alex says, me too. And then JC says, can't forget about me. And then Ray says, I feel insulted. And then, so it's a long introduction.
Oh, that.
It's a long introduction that leads to Princess Serenity saying, fine, I'll do my own disclaimer. RP tags, shakes head. I don't own Beyblade, or I don't give a damn by Avril Lavigne does. Oh, by the way, this was a Avril Lavigne song fic that this was prefacing. Please don't sue me. Flames are evil, so please don't send me any. Flames meaning like negative comments. Yeah. So then the fic happened, and then at the end, it said, Kiro says, Serenity, we're hungry. And then Princess Serenity says, well, you guys are on strike, so I guess I'm on strike too. Because I guess in like the first part that I skipped over, they had gone on strike.
Yeah.
For some reason. So then one of the other characters is like, no. And then there's like RP tags. And then the character says, okay, I guess the strike is over. And then Princess Serenity says, good. And then in RP tags, it says, goes to get everyone food. And then Ray says, and I'm still not sure if this is Ray isn't a friend, because all these other people seem to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this is Ray like a friend, because it's spelled the same way as the character from Beyblade spells his name. But then Ray says, just to let all you readers out there know that this was her first yaoi and song fic. So if any of you flame her, I will find where you live and hurt you severely. And then, Princess Serenity comes back with food and says to tell everyone goodbye. Like, and that was a thing that like 95% of fan fictions did.
Mm-hmm.
They would include RP sessions with the author and like random OCs and characters. It was so fucking weird.
Was it to pad out the read time, I guess, or was it
I have
just like self-serving?
I honestly think it was mostly self-serving because I have no idea. I
If
can't imagine.
depending on where, like,
Even, even if it was an angsty story, they would do this.
but
Like even if
maybe it's like aftercare, sort of. You know, like there were a lot of manga that would do something similar, where they'd have like it was called nomake, at the towards the end of the volume, or at the end of the volume, where it was sort of like aftercare, like you had like some big suspenseful stuff, and then you have like a little bit of fluff, where sometimes you'll even have the mangaka will just come in and like talk to his or her characters and stuff.
I
So
guess
it could
like
be
well,
it
it
could be
makes
like
sense.
that.
It makes sense for for a mangaka to do it though, because
Yeah.
that's all their characters. This is just someone role playing.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I don't
Maybe,
know.
maybe it has a function to it, and I can get
Maybe.
why it would be like it is definitely like out of place, but at the same time I can sort of understand it.
Yeah, it's just funny to like look back on and be like, damn, all these people are just out here role playing. um, so if you would like, I have a lovely Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction.
This is gonna be good.
Um, so, and I'm not sick. I have a dry throat, and no matter how much water I drink, it doesn't help.
Yeah. I feel like we have to do a disclaimer after every sneeze. It's like, oh, I have allergies. Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm just yeah.
yeah.
I've just been smoking menthols.
I don't have the virus, I promise. So this one, because I finally discovered after, I haven't gone on fanfiction.net in a while, but the other day, because I'm preparing for the podcast my friend and I are gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally discovered, and I probably could have figured it out if I cared enough, but I guess before I just never did, because the front page would have some really good hidden gems on it. But I finally discovered how to sort, I filtered it to show me the published date, and then I would just go all the way back to the last page.
Mm-hmm.
And Yu-Gi-Oh on fanfiction.net is still in the top 5 for fanfiction numbers, and it's got over 2,000 pages, and I'm impressed, honestly, because
Still
I
running
thought,
strong.
yeah, it's still going strong. Naruto is the number 1, and then Hetalia is number 2.
It's
Yeah,
shocking.
yeah, I know,
Absolutely
right?
shocks me. Like Hetalia was like flash in the pan, but goddamn was it a flash in the pan.
Honestly, I'm surprised Hetalia is not number 1, but I guess it makes sense that Naruto is because everyone loves Sasuke. Um, so this lovely little gem was published to fanfiction.net in November of 2001,
Okay.
and it was last updated in April of 2002. And I thought this would be a fun one because it's called Reunion. And the summary, like the little description, says years after Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm like, oh,
Mm.
2002 isn't even close to when, like, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's still going now, isn't it?
I think the last I checked, 5Ds was still airing, but this
Yeah,
was
so like,
like almost a decade ago was the last time I
but
was
this,
up to date on that. So,
but 2002 is like definitely before Battle City
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like all that. So it like this. So I thought this would be interesting, but unfortunately, it's only one chapter technically, even though there's 2 up here. But it did say in the summary that, or in the little description, that it was on hiatus. I guess at this point it's an indefinite hiatus.
Uh huh. Well, you never know; it might come back.
Yeah, maybe Kitty Chan might still be out there.
Come
Kitty Chan,
back.
if you're listening. I'm inviting you onto a podcast I don't host.
Just think about it. Just think about. Oh, I'll have them on, and you will have brought back your fan fiction before Half-Life 3 and Yandere Simulator and Portal 3. So that you know, like just carry that torch just that extra mile, and you can go down in history. But for now, we're going to be reading.
Going back in history. And it's called Reunion by Kitty Chan.
Oh boy.
And it starts with an author's note. Okay, people, this is my very first fic to be posted on the net.
On the net.
Nice little double pun there, because it's like, could be fanfiction.net. Actually, I think at this time everyone referred to ff.net as either ff.net or just simply the net. But I like it. Anyway, if I get enough reviews, I'll continue it and even add what has come before. Oh yeah, and this was for an English project. If I continue this, I'll tell you what I got on it, okay? Very bribing the reader here. People used to do that a lot. They would like fish for comments. But anyway, you saw that a lot with my Immortal and their author's notes.
Do you have a link for this?
Yes, I do actually.
I tried Googling it, but there is literally Reunion, a Yu-Gi-Oh fanfic.
Everywhere. Yeah. I'm really bad at
the first.
The there you go.
Yeah.
This was the like when my friend and I were recording episode 0 of our podcast, I had a very hard time remembering to link fics. Okay. So on to oh god, I love okay. I'm sorry. Oh. Okay.
Oh boy.
Anzu looked out the window from the back seat of the car anxiously. How many years has it been? How many years since my little Anko was taken from me? How long has it been since I held my daughter in my arms? Daijobu, Anzu?
Okay, I need to butt in for a second here. Yeah. So if you're seeing this on the screen, first of all, it's just Daiju question mark boo, and then there's like a little 1 in brackets after that. This is because this fic has a glossary on it, like translation notes. So that's what we're set up for.
Translator's note: Kekaku means plan.
Yeah. So do you want me to voice one of these characters?
I mean, if you want to.
I am comfortable with it.
I don't mind just reading it. You're gonna be Yuka, because she has the most like Japanese phrases that I have never heard of in my life. So yeah.
Okay.
So you'll start reading at Hey Knock It Off, and then you'll go to like,
all right.
I'll let you read that paragraph that's just nothing but glossary notes. And then at the end of that paragraph, I'll come back in.
All right.
And then, okay.
We were at Daijobu Anzu?
Yeah. Daijobu Anzu? Anju jerked at the mention of her name and turned to regard the man sitting beside her. Hi, Mokuba.
Ooh.
Are you sure? Are you sure? The driver of the vehicle scrutinized her via the rearview mirror. I can't do that voice, I'm sorry. I mean, it is understandable for you not to be okay. What with all that's gone on. Aw, lay off her, Kaiba. Seto Kaiba glowered at the man beside him. I was only asking her a question, Honda. There's no need to bite my head off. Calm down, Aniki. Mokuba soothed. Honda didn't mean any harm. Kaiba gave a frustrated sigh. I know.
Oto-chan.
Thank you. I know. Okay, now you go.
Right. Hey, knock it off! The fifth and final occupant of the car cried from her position in the back beside her Giri no Kyodai? Giri no Kyodai? Okay. She sighed, "Look, I know we've all been through Jigoku lately, but let's not take it out on each other."
Sama, the trio of men chorused.
You okay? I'm Yuka,
Yeah, that's
right?
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yuka grinned and said in an extremely childish voice, "Are we there yet, Shujin?" Ah,
Honda, Honda, Kaiba, and Mokuba gaped at her a moment, then burst into laughter. Anzu joined in.
yeah, I'd burst into laughter too. Yuka surveyed her work with a grin. Nim Ninmu Kanri question mark, she thought smugly. Ninmu Kanri she thought smugly. Then she frowned. Jigoku indeed. She sighed. Horgiri no Shimai. Then she snorted. Poor Mei-chan and Nii-chan, Yugi Nii-chan and Anko Mei-chan are the ones who have been through the real Jigoku, being kidnapped and forced to be put through Kami-sama knows what. Her mood sank even further, and Giri no Shimai only worried about her precious Anko. Granted, Mei-chan is her Musume, but Nii-chan's her Shujin for Kami-sama's sake. She doesn't care. She only married Nii-chan because of Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh, cause of Yu-Gi-Oh. Sheesh. Yuka put on her grinning jester's face as everyone calmed down.
It's like that whole paragraph just did not mean a single thing to me.
Yeah, some of it is not real words. Well, they are real words, but they're not like normal words.
Like they're not used in that way all the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't. They stick out a little bit to me, at least. But like,
I feel like phrases like "Kami knows what" are
oh
very quintessential to anime fan fiction. Trying
yeah,
to like flex. Like, oh, Kami means God. Huh. I read the translator's notes on Death Note once. Like,
I read the Wikipedia entry for Shinto.
yeah. All right. Itoshi, own guy. I need to concentrate on the road. This caused yet more laughter, much to Kaiba's chagrin. Jonucci and Mai will be ticked if we crash their car because we're too busy laughing to watch the road. Though meant to be in jest, Kaiba's statement reminded everyone of the situation, and an uneasy silence settled over the car. We're here, Kyber.
Kyber!
Kyber! We're here, Kaiba said somberly a few minutes later. Everyone got out of the. I always read too fast, sorry. Everyone got out of the car and made a silent procession to the imposing form of Tokyo's finest hospital, which was surrounded by police officers and reporters. Kaiba flashed his ID and was let through by the officers, who worked to keep the reporters at bay. One reporter got away from the officials and ran over to the group, microphone in hand and cameraman in tow. He shoved aforementioned microphone into Anzu's face. Mrs. Moto, how does it feel to be reunited with Oof? That was as far as he got before he was knocked out by a triple punch courtesy of Honda, Kaiba, and Yuka.
I want to see this animated. Anyway, but animated in like the blood raining night sense of animated.
Yeah.
I hate reporters, Yuka muttered. Then she looked at the mass of reporters. I'll handle this, she said ominously. An evil grin plastered on her face.
Kaiba rolled his eyes. Toshi, own guy. Own guy. Okay, can you say those words, please?
Onegashimasu.
Don't add any more lawsuits to your resume. You've punched out enough reporters to last a lifetime.
Okay, sorry, just a sec. Technical difficulties again. Kaiba, okay. They haven't stopped coming, have they? At Kaiba's exasperated look, Yuka replied. At Kaiba's exasperated look, Yuka replied. That is a sentence in English. I'll try, okay, but no promises. Then she leaned over and whispered in his ear, just check on Nii-chan for me, will ya?
I haven't stopped coming, have they? Yuka went to address the press. Let's go. He allowed himself a smirk as he noticed several reporters with bandaged noses quickly backing away from the hospital as they noticed the ominous figure approaching them. Looks like the reporters can learn things after all. This elicited a snicker from everyone in the group, even Anzu. The co-owner of Kyber Corp's temper was legendary. Well, Jonichi and Mai are waiting for us.
Oh, wait!
Honda said, reluctant to tear his eyes away from the spectacle of Yuka telling off the reporters on international television. Kaiba nodded, then winced at his Okusan. Oh, as his Okusan launched into another round of initiative swear words, following it up with an uppercut to one reporter who gotten rather fresh with her. You know, sometimes, just sometimes, mind you, I wish I'd married a more even-tempered woman. Who is Yuka?
I do not know.
Is that an OC?
Maybe I'm...
Because I know that Honda is Tristan. I know Anzu is Taya. I know Jonichi or whatever. Jonichi is Joey.
We've...
I know that the...
Yuka Nozaki is the main protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sen 6. She is a dual lactator who used to work at the Kame game shop under Yugi Moto, but was chosen to participate in the virtual universe created by Kaiba. Within this virtual world, she plays the role of protege duelist Juhei Joki. She is one of the first duelists to publicly use rotation summoning. Doesn't say anything about being married.
How the fuck would they have known that in 2002? Because wasn't all that stuff later? Or am I just on crack? Because I thought, like, rotation summoning, that would have been after Duelist Kingdom. And that was really the only thing that was going on at this time, because I think Battle City started in either 2002 or 2003.
So yeah, this might be...
just an OC then.
This might be a really convenient OC. Huh.
Oh, holy shit. Well, golf clap. That's pretty impressive.
She predicted.
Yeah, like I like when fan fiction does that. It's really, really funny to me. All right. Let's see. They all looked at Yuka, who just kicked another reporter in a rather sensitive place while simultaneously making a scathing remark about a female reporter's rather robust figure and how she'd gotten it. Oh wow.
What?
And wordless. I'm assuming she's calling a female reporter fat.
Oh.
Being like, you ate too much or whatever.
It was a different time.
It really was.
2002.
And wordlessly marched into the hospital, leaving the gaping police officers to deal with the rather amusing scene. The hospital itself was press-free, no reporters in sight. Kaiba approached the reception desk to inquire the whereabouts of Yugi and Anko, only to stop short. Anzu let out a strangled gasp. Before them was what looked to be a teenage version of Yuka, except this girl had Anzu's eyes. Jonuchi and Mai, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that name like 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And
All of them are
Mai,
valid.
that's why I always call him Joey, because I just can't say that. Joey
Wait.
and Mai stood behind the hauntingly familiar girl. Anko-chan, Anzu stammered out in a whisper. The girl's head whipped around at the mention of her name and caught sight of Anzu. Anko put 2 and 2 together and choked out one word that you're gonna say.
I don't know what that question mark is. That changes everything.
I think it's supposed to be mom.
Okasama. Okasama.
Anzu could bear it no longer. Bursting into tears, she ran over and embraced her
Musume. Like
who
morning
had
Musume.
also... What?
Like morning Musume or
Oh,
yeah.
like in Monster Musume? Okay.
Or Antai Musume, yeah.
And embraced her Musume, who had also started with the waterworks. The two clung to each other for dear life, praying that it was real.
Kasan? Otosan? Hey.
Anzu clutched Anko tighter. Forget about Yugi. You're all that will ever matter to me. Kaiba looked at Anzu with a mixture of shock and disgust. Kami-sama. Toshi was right. She really doesn't care about Yugi. Excuse me, he addressed the nurse at the reception desk. What is Yugi Moto? Oh. Sorry, I just completely skipped the word room. Excuse me. He addressed the nurse at the reception desk. What room is Yugi Moto in? This way, a second nurse motioned for him to follow. Mokuba caught up with Kaiba, and together they followed the nurse to check on Yugi.
And then we're on the worst cliffhanger ever. What happens next?
Alright, so chapter 2 is, it says, Dear readers, especially Azazel Girl and all those who reviewed, all 14 of you. Ah! Damn writer's block. I'm sorry, people. Everyone's gonna have to wait a little longer for my fix. See, I've been grounded for several weeks for the unspeakable crime of getting a grade less than 100% on my report card. My parents think I have to be perfect, so I'm under a lot of pressure, which isn't good for this writer's block. I really need to get my grades up if I ever want to touch an electronic device again. I'll write what I can, but no promises. There is some hope, though. I know what I want to happen in my currently posted fix. No guarantee they'll go the way I want them to, though. In Ice and Reunion, I'm not sure how to go about doing what I want. As for Revenge, well, does anyone have a script for Dead Zone? Because the rental place near my house doesn't carry the movie, and I'm too poor to just buy it at the mall. Remember when you couldn't just buy something on Amazon if it wasn't at the mall? You were fucked. I mean,
yeah.
I guess there was eBay, but like that was back when eBay was just for like bidding on shit.
Yeah, like you didn't have a buy it now. You didn't have like any of that stuff. So you either could rent something from Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever, or Movie Scene, I guess was one of them. Or
I think so.
Yeah, Walmart.
Maybe Walmart didn't have Dead Zone.
Walmart probably didn't have. Walmart has the weirdest shit now, but
I feel like I had a copy of Dead Zone on VHS. It's a horror film. Okay, we didn't have it, but it's a horror film from 1983 based on a Stephen King book. Starring Christopher Walken. Oh, maybe it wasn't based on a Stephen King book, but he wrote the script. He has like writing credit for it.
Hmm.
Huh.
So we can only conclude that Kiri-chan Uchinaru no Miko
It's still grounded.
is still grounded. Been grounded for 18 years.
Yeah.
Gosh. She really, really, really didn't get those grades up, huh?
I guess not. You know, for all we know, she's just still out there. Oh my god, so I clicked on the comments and someone says, okay, one of the comments is, you wrote an English project with so much Japanese? Yikes. Well, my main problem with the fic is the Japanese, and not even my normal crusade against Japanese in fics because people so often end up using it wrong. A crusade I've given up on now. My problem with it is that half of the Japanese words ended up having question marks in the middle of them due to the fact that special characters require special code to HTML.
Yeah.
Other than that, and the fact that I didn't know half the characters, this was a pretty good fic. I hope you got a good grade on it. Okay, I'm sorry, but the only character in the fic that was made up was Yuka and the daughter. So is this implying that the whoever commented on this isn't familiar with the Japanese names of Taya, Tristan, Joey, and
Probably. Okay, so this is 2002. How the hell did? Because I've read the at least the original publication of the manga, and they didn't use their Japanese names at all.
this was really
Where did she get?
in I think it came from like from fan subs.
Okay.
Because reading fan fiction is how I learned the Japanese names for the characters.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I never, and I actually think in no, the manga does have at least the manga that I read, it has some of the Japanese names.
Hmm.
Yeah, like hold on, let me go grab.
Okay. While she's away, I have to update you guys on something. This account is still active, or was still active back in December of 2018.
So okay, because I never read the manga as a child.
Yeah.
So how I learned the Japanese names was from reading fan fiction because that was a really popular thing for a while. I mean, it might even still be. For Yu-Gi-Oh was people using, yeah,
Hmm.
um, on the page of the manga. Excuse me. So I have because I have since reading this bought the manga. Like I used to read it in Shonen Jump.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember it like coming up a lot. And I think I was reading the fan fiction before I read Shonen Jump because I didn't start reading Shonen Jump until 6th grade, and I started watching and reading like I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh and reading the fan fiction like for 4th grade and 5th grade respectively.
Mm-hmm.
So, but on the first page of the manga, yeah, Tristan is bullying Yugi with like holding the puzzle box over his head, and Yugi's yelling, "Give it back, Honda!" And then there's like a little asterisk. So I think this is a recent thing because there's a little asterisk, and then in between, like in the margin between the panels, the asterisk says Tristan Taylor in the TV series. So like the editor
Oh, okay.
so the editor, yeah, like the editors went back in and because there's also another part where Honda says or where Tristan says Joey's Japanese name and then there's like another asterisk that it says Joey Wheeler in. So yeah, like I think the recent things that they added were like when the mangas were getting republished was like a translation of the characters' names,
Okay.
but I didn't read the manga when it first started like
Yeah.
going around.
So I'm not sure what it looked like. Again, I can't remember what Shonen Jump looked like. I can't remember how it looked in Shonen Jump, but
Hmm.
I do remember learning like all the Japanese names for everybody because that was really confusing. I would go on to try to read Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction, and half of the fics would be like, Anzu is in love with Yuki, blah blah, and I'm like, who the fuck is Anzu? Like, why do people have all these weird
Yeah.
OC names? But then I would type it into whatever the search engine was at the time and be like, oh, that's like Taya.
Huh.
Yeah, it was very weird. Yu-Gi-Oh's the only series, and I don't know if this is because Yu Yu Hakusho's names are the same through like, like manga, anime, blah blah, but this is the like Death Note fan fiction. They all they all say light and blah blah. This is Yu-Gi-Oh is the only one that I've seen where the fan fiction uses the Japanese names more than the English names.
Hmm.
It's very weird. It's really freaking weird.
So I discovered something.
Mm-hmm.
So look at her favorite stories.
Uh,
She was still using this account relatively recently.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like if we're
Cause
going,
the, cause she has a Goblin Slayer favorited,
yeah.
and that was updated a few weeks ago.
It was published December 5th, 2018. You have some updates on June 30th. Yeah, so
June 25th.
she is well aware.
I'm kind of tempted to like send her a message and be like, "Hey, can you update that fic? I want to know what happened."
We have a podcast of a viewership of like maybe 3 people who are on the edges of their seats.
They're on the edge of their seats. They gotta know what's gonna happen next.
Oh,
Oh my god, so there's another very lovely review on here. Lordy, I couldn't get past the third sentence because I was going down to the bottom for translations. Much as I want to learn Japanese, I'm not sure this is the way to do it. I'll try to read to the end, but if I have to go get translations every 3 seconds, I'm gonna quit this fic. Your Japanese translation numbers don't even match up with the translations. Okay, this would be a great story if there wasn't so much Japanese. Are you learning it right now? Is that why you're inserting it everywhere? That's what I was doing when I first started learning Spanish, but it really confuses people. Please stop doing it, at least so much. The part I did understand was good.
this was when it started, huh? Like the whole inserting random Japanese words in. So that was like around like 2000, 2001, 2002. That's when it actually started, and then it's
Yep.
fallen off since then. Like the last time I
Yeah.
encountered anybody like that was like maybe my junior year of high school. It was a freshman in the anime club, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like I do remember this. Like the fix that I have in my favorites don't do it very much, if at all.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, I definitely remember that being a trend. But it was weird because, like, I mean, maybe it was just the fit. Like, I think Inuyasha had some of that too, where there would be random Japanese words sometimes.
That doesn't happen in Naruto that often?
Not that I remember, or at least
Huh.
not the fix that I read.
Wow, that's fighting
It
against
probably,
stereotype.
yeah, it probably did, and I just don't remember. But I definitely remember seeing it a lot in Inuyasha and Yu-Gi-Oh more often than in like Beyblade. Beyblade would always be relatively like normal.
My Oka-chan did not do the Keikaku.
Would you like Oh no, wait. This is kind of long. I was gonna say, would you like a preview of? I guess I can read like a little bit of it. Would you like
Yeah.
a preview of Demon Sex Education, the lovely Inuyasha fic?
Oh God, I love pain.
Yeah, no, it's actually really good. I read it a couple years ago, and I
Huh.
was like, wow, this is still pretty funny. All right, so we got Demon Sex Education by Flaming Duck. It's complete. Chapter 4 is out. Author's note, everything you ever wanted to know about demon mating and marking will be explained by the ever-knowing sex ed teacher Rin. Inu and Co. await the presentation anxiously while Shishomaru taps his long claws on his desk. And it was published in July of 2004. It was finished a month later. All right, this guy, he just
Very industrious.
I always just assumed that Flaming Duck was a guy for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But, this guy, he just banged it out, one chapter a week. He had this inspiration, and here it is. Disclaimer. This is in no way associated with anyone. This is merely a silly, screwed up idea created to poke fun at the most used concepts of demon mating as commonly found in Inuyasha fanfics. We are not specializing any story in particular. So if something sounds familiar, it's purely coincidental. Except for my own, since I don't care if I make fun of my own stuff. Please don't take offense. It is meant to be amusing.
So there was discourse going on.
Yeah, this was like a little parody. This was like a little parody fic, in a way. Yeah. So Nachon number 2 here. And for those who don't know, this is a collaboration between myself, Sheshi-sama, and my Nachon, Ghastly Moroku, and it's spelled Ghastly like the Pokemon.
Yeah.
As such, we are referred to as simply Nachon number 1 and Nachon number. It's Nachon, right? When it's One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nachon.
Okay. Yeah. I know it's Onichan, but I'm like, no.
Onichan, Onechan.
Or like Nichon, yeah.
They're
Nichan,
very similar.
Yeah. That's I know I always have to say like if I'm gonna say Nachon, I always have to say Nichon in my head first, so that way I know it's the opposite one.
I'm the same with writing. Because there's like some hiragana which are similar, so it's like she and so and yeah. So I have to like think it out in my head before I do it. Anyway.
Yeah. This is just a little extra one shot as we prepare for the next chapter of our story, which we of course highly recommend everyone go read. Shamelessly promoting. Inu is in the first chapter, and for those hopelessly devoted Inu fans, hope you enjoy it. And then video script was written by Nachon number 1. And today's after school special. Demon Sex Education. What you need to know when courting or being courted by a demon. Shishomaru dropped the small AV worker in front of the faulty projector. He was already in a foul mood for getting forced to supervise over this damn after-school lecture, and he was doing his best to find someone to take it out on. The small toad he managed to find when looking for someone to fix the projector was just perfect for the job. Fix it already, Shishomaru commanded. The toad fixed the back of his black shirt before swearing beneath his breath and examining the projector. Shishomaru was about to step on me. Please step on me. Anyway, Shishomaru was about to step on the pathetic demon when a light, cheerful voice interrupted his train of thought. Arigato, See, I just said.
Arigato, Jarkin-san.
But I think arigato is pretty like standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arigato, Jarkin-san. I never can get that machine to work no matter how many times I use it. Jockin looked back at the young human woman. Yeah, Whatever. Didn't need to send Dog Boy out to play fetch to get me, though. Almost ruined my shirt. Dry cleaning is fucking expensive. He continued his grumbling as he worked on fixing the machine before him. Shishomaru would have made sure his head was on the other side of the wall, and he very much thought the idea of the toad's little body squirming trying to free himself would be very amusing. But he was stopped from fulfilling his violent fantasy as two slender arms wrapped around his chest. He turned around and was brought face to face with his young mate, her brown eyes gentle and friendly, while her smile was so beautifully welcoming. Arigato, Shishomaru. I finished setting up here. Now we just wait for the students to arrive. At the mention of the soon-to-arrive students, Shishomaru rolled his golden eyes and brushed his mate aside. The woman just laughed at him. You know, Shishomaru, you can't complain about being here when you volunteered to supervise this. He scowled and returned to his desk at the back of the room. Oh, they can't be that bad. They are your students. And you wonder why I didn't want you alone with them while discussing nothing but sex. He leaned back in his red leather chair and closed his eyes. Rin, sometimes you are truly naive. Suddenly he felt her weight settle upon his thighs and her breath against his face. His golden gaze slowly opened to meet her seductive stare. True, but you used to find that fact very amusing. She leaned in and kissed him, her hands slipping over his broad shoulders to massage the back of his neck. Go, Nissan! Does this mean we get a demonstration along with the video?
Oh my god.
Hello? A loud growl formed in Shishomaru's throat as Rin left him, allowing him complete view of the 14-year-old Hanyu boy? Hanyo. Oh yeah, like half demon. Okay. Hanyo boy who had entered. Why was he cursed with such an idiot of a half-brother? For that matter, why was he not just forced to take care of why was he okay? For that matter, why was he not just forced to take care of the bastard, but also to have him in his class? Okay, there we go. Sorry, that was a little clunker.
Yeah.
Oof. What? Okay. Rin approached the front of the room as the students filed in, but stopped at where Inuyasha was standing. Oh, Inuyasha, I fixed your nightlight today so you can refrain from coming into our room tonight. She smiled sweetly at the now scarlet-faced Hanyo before resuming her trek to the blackboard. Ooh, dissed by your own sister-in-law, that's gotta suck, the only other Hanyu said in the room. Or in the room said, rather. Oh, shut the fuck up, Naraku. No one was talking to you. I can say whatever I want, dog breath. Don't get all high and mighty just because your brother's the teacher. Yeah, like I care about that. I can kick your ass anytime without anyone's help. Shishomaru had enough of this. His fingers snapped towards the bickering Hanyus. Duh! Fucking Christ. Hanyos! Sending his demonic whip to crack the ground between them. Shut up, both of you. Inuyasha, Moroku, Bankotsu, Jakotsu. You know the rules. Weapons go in the closet. I love how this is like definitely a high school fic, but they're all still demons. They all still have their weapons.
Oh yeah.
And Naraku is just a 15-year-old for some reason.
It was 2004. It was a different time. No, it wasn't.
No, see, this is very funny because, like, now that I realize that it's based on, like, kind of poking fun at, like, fan fiction tropes, I wonder how many high school AU and Inuyasha fics had this kind of stuff in it, and I just either didn't notice or, like, I don't remember. Very interesting. Oh my god, okay. I don't know how to say that word that's coming up. because all my Inuyasha references have left me.
Uh-huh.
Haven't I told you not to touch Banryu? There we go. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Well, if it didn't take you 20 minutes just to put it away, I wouldn't need to. Why the hell do you have such a big sword anyway? Compensating for something? Bankotsu just smirked. At least mine doesn't shrink.
Wait.
Oh wait, I skipped a paragraph. I'm sorry. Oh god.
So is this implying that he just always is walking around with a heart on?
I mean, have you seen what Bakotsu looks like?
I do not recall.
He's pretty hot.
Yeah. Okay.
He was one of my husbandos. He only shows up in like one episode, and I'm pretty sure he dies in it. But
oh, so he's one of those.
Yeah. All right. I had skipped a bunch of paragraphs,
Oops.
so I'm just gonna go back up here. Weapons go in the closet. The four boys begrudgingly head for the back closet to store their weapons. Bunkotsu stood in front of the small storage area and slowly petted his large sword. Don't worry, Banryu. I will get you back after this is over. I won't let them take you away again. Inuyasha's eyebrow twitched slightly as he stared at the human comforting his sword. You're a sick bastard, you know that? When Bankotsu refused to either acknowledge Inuyasha or let go of his sword, the silver-haired Hanyu threw Tetsaiga against Bankotsu's giant weapon, forcing both swords into the closet. This is such gay, like, subtext that I'm just surprised it doesn't end up as a yaoi. The enraged human boys stormed up to Inuyasha as the others stowed away their weapons. Haven't I told you not to touch Banryu? Well, if it didn't take you 20 minutes just to put it away, I wouldn't need to. Why the hell do you have such a big sword anyway? Compensating for something? Bankotsu just smirked. At least mine doesn't shrink. They were about to get into another fight when Rin stepped between them, which immediately drew Shishomaru's attention to a daily battle he normally ignored. She smiled at both of them, instantly shutting up Inuyasha, who didn't want her to say anything else embarrassing. Bankotsu also quieted, though since his eyes were locked on an area lower than her head, Shishomaru doubted it was the smile that shut him up. Rin's low-cut neckline was not helping the matter. Rin placed her fingers at the edge of Bankotsu's chin and lifted his face so that he looked into her eyes. When I talk to you, your eyes should never stray that far south. You wouldn't want to upset your teacher any more than you already have, now would you? The boy's eyes, which had still been trying to return to the ample vision inside Rin's blouse, now turned to Shishomaru, whose upper lip was already raised, showing off a perfectly deadly pair of fangs. Shishomaru wasn't the one to punish humans, though, as Inuyasha landed a solid punch on Bakotsu's right cheek. The bastard! Don't try to check out my sister. He turned to Moroku, whose eyes were already wandering the curves of the young sex ed teacher. That goes for you too, Hoshi. Hoshi?
Yeah, Hoshi.
Hoshi? Yaho? Anyway, Moroku lifted his hands in defense and smiled stupidly. I wasn't looking at Rin Sensei. I was checking out Sango-chan. The 13-year-old
I couldn't fucking tell you.
Yeah.
I think I've given up.
Face reddened, only to be followed by Moroku's as a bright handprint formed on his cheek. Alright, are you done? There we go. I'll let the rest remain a mystery.
Alright. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
An
Well, I
interesting
just share.
foray.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna finish reading this after we get off this.
All right.
It's a nice, lovely little thing. It's stupid, but it's funny.
Yeah, there's just an entire aspect to fandom that like a lot of people seem to overlook, but then it's just so like deep, honestly. There's times where it's like, yeah, I'm always looking for new doujinshi of things, or I'll follow artists of certain manga or character designers and stuff, and they'll offer new things. But like at the same time, like being able to look into other people's heads and see how they think and interact with these same characters, and then just like, I'm just droning on here, but
Yeah, no, I get it. Like I think it's less that people overlook it and more that, or at least to like the Western audience.
a lot of people consider it to just be like everything's going to be either so bad it's good or mediocre.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like, cuz like, to Western people, fan fiction is like, I get it, right? Cuz it's like you're not creating your own work and you're just, using other people's like characters or whatever, but
Yeah, but then those same people will be like, "Oh, I love this doujinshi. Oh, I love this fluff piece doujinshi and stuff." And it's like it's the same thing.
yeah, cuz
Like they
the
actually
thing is that, like, doujinshi isn't just hentai.
Yeah.
It's a whole like in like Japanese, like, it's mostly like a Japanese thing, but like there's doujin music and there's like there's like fan, like doujin just means fan.
Yeah.
And there's like fan content over there is like treated a lot better than it gets, at least how fan fiction gets treated over here.
Well, because a big part of it is that we have a big content filter, so the only things that get translated are the things that are actually good.
Yeah.
But in Japan, they also have fan fiction, and a lot of doujinshi people will actually sell fan fiction in physical format at some of these shows. If you go into Mandarake, you have to be on the lookout because you'll find something that has like really cute art and stuff, but as soon as you open it up, it's all just a wall of Japanese text. So the fan fiction is also written over there. You just never really see it over here because nobody wants to go through the whole rigmarole of translating a dense block of text because they don't know, they can't really test the audiences that would be interested in that stuff. But you get the same exact, like, I don't want to say cringe, but you get the same exact, like, just throwing it out there. I'm okay with just letting my creative juices flow and just showing it to people.
Yeah.
And it's just not that like, oh, the Japanese fans will make better things or anything like that. It's just that we have the content filter.
Yeah, and I think, and because like when I was talking about people who like don't respect fan fiction, I wasn't necessarily even just limiting it to people who like they just like they like they don't care for it, but they'll go turn around and like consume doujinshi. Like, there's a whole section of different fandoms that just look down on fan fiction, like here, like a lot, like for as much Harry Potter fan fiction as there is just as many people who think it's like it's stupid and don't have any respect for it at all.
Yeah.
And 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 it's kind of, I don't know, like, I mean, I'm not saying that those people are like they shouldn't have that opinion, but also at the same time, like, it's okay to like things and write about how much you like things, and that, but then you have like for the longest time, J.K. Rowling would have like she had a section on her website that was just devoted to shutting down people's fan theories. And then you had Anne Rice of Vampire Chronicles fame I can't, like, I don't know if she sued any fan fiction writers, but she tried to like remove fan fiction off of websites because she didn't like it. And it's just like, really? Like, you're gonna, like,
Oh,
as an author of something, shouldn't you feel glad that people want to engage with what you wrote?
yeah,
Like, yeah, like if I wrote something and published it and, millions of people loved it, would I actively consume fan fiction of it? Probably not. But if someone like linked it, like maybe every, like, maybe I don't know, every once in a while I would get drunk and, like, scroll through the tags or something. But like I would never discourage anyone from writing fan fiction of anything I wrote if they liked it. Like, I feel like part of the fun is seeing the engagement. Yeah, most of it will probably be amateur. Most of it will probably be problematic in some way. But, like, at the end of the day, who gives a shit,
yeah.
Like, unless it really, like, unless it's something that, like, runs the risk of looking authentic, I
Yeah.
don't think it should be, like, I think an author who goes out of their way to shut it down is just wrong.
That's declaring war on the fans and trying
Yeah.
to prevent, like, stifle them from having creative license over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, like a fandom for something is it's organic. It's and I think, like, the best ways to interact with this media, because it's like you can watch something and then be done with it, or you can watch something, become invested in it, and you form a community around it. And I think
Yeah.
that is something that, like, is becoming more and more accessible to more and more people. And I think that's something that's really changing the way that people interact with their media, and that's for the better. I also think that the days of, oh, look at this cringe, let's cringe about things, I think that's slowly starting to move away, because people are becoming more empathetic towards these things, because they understand, like,
We
passion
were all
is,
kids once.
yeah, we were all kids once, and passion is a good thing, and we shouldn't, just because it doesn't seem like socially, like it doesn't have the correct social syntax or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's bad or anything like that. And I think that we're moving in a good direction on that front.
Kind of, because, like, I there's a couple of podcasts that I listen to, that are there. I mean, they only read Harry Potter fan fiction,
Yeah.
but it comes from a place of, of love for that kind of stuff. And like, that kind of inspired me to be like, well, I've never seen that. I've never, like, there's two fandom podcasts that I listen to. One's Harry Potter. One started as Harry Potter, but then they got a cease and desist from WB. And so then they rebranded and became just like fandom in general. Like, one of theirs, like, they had like 6 or 7 seasons of just Harry, well, seasons, but like, they would read, like, a couple chapter fic, and then that would be one season, etc. One of the season, like, like, after they got that cease and desist, they did The Office. Like, they read, like, an Office fan fiction. I think the last time I looked, they had a Game of Thrones one, and on and on. But they got a cease and desist from WB for reading erotic Harry Potter fan fiction as a podcast. And I have so many problems with that, not just because I enjoyed that podcast. Like, they found some of the funniest erotic HP fics I've ever heard in my life. But it's just but it's like, that means that J.K. Rowling found this fan fiction and got so offended that her adult characters were, because that was the thing, was that all the fics that they were reading, like all the character, like Harry, and like they made sure not to like include like, you know, like school ages in it.
Yeah.
They would be like, if the age wasn't listed, it was like a they're 18 thing or something. Like if it was set at Hogwarts but there was no year provided, they would just be like, oh, they must be 18 or whatever. But a lot of them would clearly be the characters as adults. Like in one of them, Draco, like, you know, Draco was the CEO of like a magazine or whatever, and stuff like that. Like, but it's just like, you know, like, but they, and it just bothers, because like that means that J.K. Rowling, you know, heard an episode or a couple of episodes of this, and it's so, like, it's just so, it just feels so gross to me that you would have that big of a problem. Because like, because then I think about it and it's like, okay, well, if like, you know, put myself in J.K. Rowling's shoes, I'm less transphobic. I probably wouldn't have named a character Cho Chang, but if I came across a podcast of 3 people reading erotic fan fiction based on my work, I would fucking, like, I probably would, like, I would listen to it and I would probably like love that. Like, cause like some of the fics, like, yeah, they were like like it was mostly the situations and the dialogue that were funny more than like the fic itself being written bad. So it's like why, it's like I just don't understand having that much of an issue where it's like, you like either stop doing this or we're gonna sue you. And that's just so extreme to me, I think, at the end of the day. Like, even if I did have a problem with it, like, I can't imagine getting to the point of sending it like a cease and desist and being like, either you stop doing this or I'm going to pursue legal action against you, a small podcast.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's something that it feels, the thing I don't like about like Western media, especially like published media and movies especially, is that the fandom is not considered an organism as much as it is a source of revenue.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's one of the things that I feel is very unique about anime and manga subcultures, is that these people who are making this stuff used to also be fans, and they also still engage with the fandom. They also, like, half the people at Studio Trigger, they go to Comiket. They sell their own doujinshi at Comiket. And you'll see that with a lot of studios. You'll see that with a lot of people who are published manga authors who will do things at Comiket. And it's not
like,
yeah.
Yeah, because like, and like you were talking about like the little, you know, manga comics afterward too.
Yeah.
Like at the end of manga, like a lot of those are like talking about, like, at least some of the ones that I have memories of reading, maybe are at the end of Death Note, probably. But like they would be like little comments talking about how much they appreciate the readers and stuff. Like DramaCon is one of my favorite manga. Actually, oh wait, that's by an English, like a Western manga person, I believe. But it's published under Tokyo Pop and everything. But like,
exactly.
You know, yeah.
Even the people who are published in the manga sphere in the US and in the West are still part of fandom. They're still like interacting with fandom, not speaking down to fandom.
Yeah. Because like some of her like little end comics would be talking about like what con she's going to and being like, oh, thank you all so much, like, for reading and everything, like, and supporting this and all that. And it's just like there needs to be more of that, because I don't know, like I just can't imagine discouraging somebody from something that I'm making.
I think old media is just going down the toilet, and we're going to see more of a resurgence or just an acceptance of like crowd created things and stuff, where it's like these people are coming from like the fandoms of these different things. They make their own things, they branch out and stuff, and they're not gonna like. I don't want to use the word sellout because that's not quite what it is, but like crossing a boundary from like being in one cast to another as opposed to being part of the story, you know?
Yeah,
Essentially.
definitely.
Yeah. Getting all what's the word for it? Uh philosophical right now, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I mean that's a good way to end.
Yeah.
Good way to end this, like bookend
Exactly.
this. Thank you for having me on here. I'm sorry that I cursed your little project with technical difficulties.
Oh no, it was the move. I think there's ghosts in my house.
That's cool. Well, I'll come over and hang out with them.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Anyway, so that'll do it for this episode of AsobiFM. I was your host, Jinden9, and
I was Nico, and
do you have
I
anything to
still
plug?
am Nico. Well, I mean, I've talked about the podcast my friend and I are doing, but we're not going to be publishing episode 0, and I think we're probably going to record an official episode, like probably sometime this coming week. And I don't want to say the name of the title because it's not taken yet, and if I say the name of it, I'm afraid that like it's going to be taken.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just going to wait until it's like officially up and out there, but it's going to be a lot of dramatic readings with like, you know, laughing a lot at, well, not laughing at, but you know,
Laughing with.
laughing with the ridiculousness and laughing at the memories that they bring up and inspire inside us. But you know, my Twitter is at Yuri Boats, you know, like the gay boat, and and yeah. I'm gonna go see if AO3 has Conclave fanfiction because now I'm very curious if that is a thing.
I never even thought about that, but yeah.
Me either. But I'll let you know if I find anything good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right.